So we're back with another match ramble, and in the spirit of Dynamite this week, we're gonna do a bit of a bit of dumbass predictions, and we're gonna talk about one of my comfort matches. Believe it or not, I love this match. I'm gonna talk about I was gonna say something else. Then it's 1 a.m. I'm tired. And we're gonna be talking about Hangman Adam Page versus Switchblade Jay White at Wrestledream in 2024. An event I have no recollection of. So, the match is actually... So, this is during Hangman's heel arc. And it's just... I think it's not long after he basically killed Swerve at All Out. And he's basically just on this war path where he's just got no composure. He's completely aggressive. And Jay White's just declared his path for the title. And he wants to take out Hangman. And then basically they had the stuff with the open, they had the full gear match, and then this is the basic payoff. And the match basically goes as you expect. But like the atmosphere is what you expect, but kind of wild thinking about it now. Where Jay White's always getting cheered as he should, he's the fucking man. But Jesus, Hangman getting booed and like even coming out when he's got to flip everyone off is incredible. And bear in mind, I think heel Hangman's best. Hangman, I think when he's a heel, he's at his best. But Jesus, he's excellent. And the match is it's only like a 15-minute match. But the match is an absolute masterclass of these two characters' work and how they're able to blend that into their wrestling styles. It's perfect. It's a genuine perfect example of that. Hangman's very, very gung-ho, very rash, no composure, no thinking. Just all pure aggression, and that's what keeps him fucking up. Jay White's continuously baiting him. Jay White knows his game. Jay White's smacking him. Jay White's like taunting him throughout. Jay White's tripping him up. Jay White's the best counter wrestler in the world. For me, probably he is. At this point, anyway. And for Hangman to be that like aggressive and that front foot focused and not have any thought process behind his eyes, essentially, to go against Jay White is just stupid. Don't get me wrong, Jay White can only do so much. Hangman is the most more... Look at the difference in stature. Jay White's very slender, very slick. And then Hangman's very, beefy, very chesty, That just shows how good these two are. The perfect rivals. Honestly, I've always thought Hangman and Jay White should have more with each other, and I always think it's a great dynamic character-wise. I love Jay White, bro. I love Jay White, but I love Hangman too, so it's such a good work. It really is. It's a great dynamic. I've always enjoyed these two, and I've just always wanted more and more, and I think this is their best match. Top of my head, this probably is their best match, and it just, because of one, the Hangman character work, two, Jay White really just proving why he is so good. It feels like Jay White is never in like threat of losing here. I think Jay White's always ever confident, which is the best Jay White, frankly. And what happens early on, so like I said, Jay White's taunting him, he's smacking him, he's fucking tripping him up and shit. Hangman does, I forget what the move is, I forget what it is, but he basically fucks him up with, fucks his own knee up, and his knee's kind of done. So then Jay White and him are obviously going back and forth, it ends up outside. And then it's just more of a battle of, like trying to basically... in endurance. Hangman's very much going at Jay White, like I said, with all this power, all this strength and aggression. Like, there's very little time Jay White has. But Jay White's he's wearing it out, he does get these licks in. That's the exact word I'd use to describe Jay White. Not just in this match, but overall, is slick. So slick and so clean with it. He's so cool. And the crowd are loving him, like, fuck you, Hank, fuck you, cowboy. And then Cowboy, shit, that's excellent. Like, bro, it's really weird to see the crowd this against Hangman, even as a heel, he was never this hated. And Jay White, I mean, Jesus, what else needs to be said? He's the guy. He's the fucking man. One of my favourites. This is why we're doing the match, because he better be coming back. I need this back. I need him back. But Jesus, Jay White here, like I said, like, they both get thrown out the ring, and Jay White's walking back to the ramp, basically trying to escape Hangman. And then Hangman's walking after him. He goes, come on, Hangman! And starts smacking him and shit. He does this brutal basic dragon screw. There's this point where Jay White, Hangman forces himself to the barricade and then basically just falls over. And his leg gets basically locked onto the rope. And then, so he's, basically hanging there. And Jay White just takes advantage of it dead quick, like a fucking predator. He's, again, this slickness to him, like a fucking cobra. And he does these chops to Hangman. That's what I mean. You can tell Jay White doesn't have the the advantage and the strength, but his game plan's just absolutely perfect. And that's what I love about Jay White. He's a very smart wrestler, and with the facial expressions, the body language, everything, the look, Jay White is that guy. And it's so fucking good. It's so smart. He's the best. He's the fucking best at this shit. The finish is one of my favourite finishes ever, and I'll talk about that in a second. But like I said, Jay White's really working the knee at this point. Obviously, the buckshot's gone. Hangman does a dead eye with a fucking knee. Oh, with landed on a knee. That was nuts. Jay White gives him a knee breaker on the ramp and then runs back after him. That was sick. And then, oh, bro, it's just like, it really focuses the knee after like about 10 minutes, and I really enjoy that. It didn't feel like so obnoxious, but the match here had a great story. It really did, in terms of Hangman's, like I said, Hangman's aggression, Jay White's style, everything. You know, this is what I've always said about Hangman's heel arc. It never felt complete unless he's never beat Jay White. Hangman's heel arc during All In build always felt incomplete because he needed to beat Jay White. That was always my thing. This is the match that really proves it. This is a match that's stuck with me ever since I watched it. I really enjoyed it. Again, one of my comfort matches. But Jesus, I really enjoy it because it just amplifies how good this Hangman heel run was, how good Jay White, just everything in it is so perfected, and I love it. Obviously, Jay White really attacking the knee, but then Hangman basically gets him in. Jay White does a nasty dragon screw on the apron, and then basically Hangman gets in there, does a dead eye, but then Jay White's like fucked, and then Hangman goes out the ring and gets ready for the buckshot, and this is the finish, and this is, in my opinion, one of the greatest finishes to a match I've ever seen. And that's a high bar, but I really fucking mean it. So Hangman's going for waiting for the buckshot. And Jay White's like staggering, and he goes to like sneak up on Hangman, get this hit. And Hangman elbows him straight away, realising it. And does it again. And then Jay White's in prime position for the buckshot. And obviously, because of Hangman's knees, wary of going for the buckshot. And he goes for the buckshot. Jay White catches him in the Blade Runner, gets him straight away. 1, 2, 3, bang. Ingenious, best counter finish I've ever seen. I don't give a shit. Best counter finish I've ever seen. The way they incorporated that into Hangman, again, that rationale, losing him the match. Obviously, Jay White's game plan always working. There was nothing Jay White couldn't have done better there. Nothing. It was perfected. It was all Hangman's, again, proving Hangman's worst enemy is Hangman, especially at this point in time. It's just, it's such a, I don't want to say there's so much depth to it, but there kind of is. It's such a masterful work then it feels like whoever, like, you know, both of these wrestlers specifically, but, you know, whoever had part in this match, the development of it, gave a shit and knew what they were doing and really cared about the story that was getting told, not just in their match, but overall. It really felt like that. It felt to both wrestlers' strengths. It really favours Jay White, this match, to me. It really favours Jay White. It's one of my favourite Jay White matches I've ever seen, possibly my favourite. And again, that, like, you know, I've got to watch more, obviously, but I love Jay White, and this is one of my favourite moments of him. But Jesus, I love how it feels like it is a Jay White focus, but it doesn't make Hangman look like shit. It just amplifies that this is Hangman lost his way. Lost his way, and he can't think straight. Like he's getting the belt off front of the ref, and like I think it's Paul Turner's going cuts it out off through the match. Like the Hangman's being this intimidating, murderous figure. We all know what fucking Hangman heel run was like, but Jay White's the one guy who could just constantly get under his skin, constantly bait and rage bait him essentially. But it works so well. It's the perfect example of Jay White, and for me, it's the main match I think of when I think of Jay White, from my limited experience, obviously. But Jesus, I adore this match. I think there's very little matches I've seen that tell this good of a story in terms of the character work, specifically from the start to the bell to the finish of the bell. The match incorporates it. Everything feels natural. Everyone feels connected. It's brilliant. It's a brilliant match. I don't think it gets the credit it deserves for how good of a match it is. I think people note it because the finish is that fucking good. Again, we cannot overemphasize how good that finish is, but Jesus, the match itself it's impeccable. It's one of my favorites ever. I really is. Off the top of my head, there's very few, especially for AEW, there's very few AEW matches I love more than this. And especially not this isn't a title match. This isn't like I always thought Hangman and Jay White should have had a bit more of a feud, but they never. It's not like a feud ender. It's just a solid bell-to-bell match. It's a developmental match in the sense of it's developing Hangman's story. It was developing Jay White's story at the time, but it makes sure these two, it's two of the best wrestlers in the world, and especially what they do with the character work and the wrestling styles going against each other again, because they've had previous matches that nearly... It's an art, and it just shows how good these two are. They are, pun entirely intended, elite, and I don't give a fuck, bro. This is the shit. If this doesn't make you miss Jay White, I don't know what does. He better... I'm recording this on Monday, well, Tuesday morning now, but Jesus, if Jay White doesn't come back on Dynamite, I am going to be heartbroken. You don't realise, after watching this, I need this man back. But either way, him, Hangman, I don't give a fuck. This is an all-timer. It's on YouTube for free. Watch it. Classic. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Hangman and Jay White's match at Wrestledream 2024. Classic match. Again, one of my favourites. It really is. Let me know what you think of the match. How much do you like this match? And how much do you miss Jay White? Do you miss him more than me? Probably not. But I love Jay White. This match is one of the best. What a wrestler.